The
Hey,
luxury restaurant was
looks like someone's
glittering
been
with
in a bit of a
chandeliers that
mess,
shimmered
huh?
Yeah, she's had a bit of an
like
adventure
stars
today.
caught in crystal. The aroma of expensive cuisine filling the air today. Sense of power and privilege. Among the well-dressed crowd sat a man whose very presence turned heads. Ethan Cole. One of the most feared and respected businessmen in the city. People whispered his name like a legend. For he was known as the untouchable billionaire who built his empire. From nothing but grit, brilliance, and ruthless ambition. He sat at the best table, wearing a sharp black suit that fit him like destiny itself. A golden watch gleaming on his wrist. Yet behind his cold, calculating eyes, no one saw the storm brewing within him. Tonight wasn't just another dinner. It was the night everything would change. The waiter approached with a silver tray, laying the bill softly on the table like a secret. Ethan, without looking twice, handed over his platinum credit card. The waiter returned a minute later, face pale, hands trembling. "I'm so sorry, sir," he whispered nervously, "your card. It's been declined." The sound of that single word, declined, echoed through the restaurant like a thunderclap. Gasps rippled across the room. A few guests whispered, others laughed softly behind their napkins. Ethan's jaw tightened. This couldn't be happening. His company was worth billions, his name opened every door. And yet here he was, sitting powerless before a restaurant bill. He took another card out, handed it over. Declined again. A third one. Declined. His throat tightened. The humiliation burning through his chest. For the first time in years, Ethan Cole felt something he had long forgotten, shame. The restaurant manager, a tall man with a polished smile, approached carefully. "Sir, perhaps there's been a technical error," he said smoothly, though his eyes revealed doubt. People were filming now. A woman in a red dress whispered too loudly, "I thought billionaires don't run out of money." Ethan clenched his fists under the table. Little did anyone know that earlier that day, an unexpected legal freeze had hit all of his accounts due to a corporate betrayal he hadn't seen coming. His empire was paralyzed overnight. He had no access to a single cent. And now, under the glittering lights of luxury, his pride was being shredded in front of strangers. He rose slowly, pulling himself tall, trying to maintain the dignity of a man who once commanded the world. "I can explain," he said firmly, but the manager's polite mask began to crack. "I'm afraid, sir, that the bill must be paid immediately. It's policy." The laughter grew louder, crueler. Someone recorded a video. Billionaire broke. A young man shouted mockingly. Ethan's face burned, not from anger, but from a pain deeper than words. Then, from the corner of the room, a small voice broke through the noise. "I can help." The crowd turned. Standing by the entrance was a little girl, no older than 8. Her clothes were old and patched, her shoes worn thin, her hair tied in a messy ponytail. She held a small paper bag in her hands. The kind kids used to sell candies on the street. Ethan blinked, stunned. "Sweetheart," the manager said gently. "This is not," but she walked forward, chin raised with the courage of a warrior. "He needs help," she said simply. She pulled out a crumpled handful of coins and a few small bills from her bag. "This is all I have. I made it selling candies today. I can pay for his food." The restaurant fell silent. The laughter stopped. Ethan stared at her, his heart lurching. In a room full of rich strangers, it was a poor little girl who stepped up. "You don't have to do that," he said softly, his voice cracking, surprising himself. She smiled, a small, innocent smile that cut through the coldness of his world. "I know," she whispered, "but you look like you need a friend." The manager hesitated, clearly unsure what to do. But the girl pushed the coins forward stubbornly. The waiter, moved, took the money gently. The bill was far more than what she could offer, but that wasn't the point. In that moment, something unexplainable happened. People who had mocked started to feel the sting of shame. One woman at a nearby table quietly placed her card on the tray. A man followed. Then another. Within minutes, strangers who had once sneered came together to cover the bill. But Ethan barely noticed them. His eyes were on the little girl. No one had ever done something so pure, so selfless for him, not in all his years of power and wealth. Tears burned behind his eyes. Something he hadn't felt since he was a boy growing up in a broken neighborhood. "Why?" he asked softly as he knelt to her level. "Why would you help a stranger?" She tilted her head. "Because when my mommy was hungry once, a nice man gave us food. She said if we ever see someone sad, we should help too. Even if it's small." Her words pierced through every wall Ethan had built around his heart. In that second, the billionaire who thought money was everything realized he had nothing of true value. His empire, his power, his status, they meant nothing compared to the tiny hands of a little girl who gave everything she had without expecting anything in return. He held out his hand. "What's your name?" he asked softly. "Lila," she said proudly. From that night on, Ethan's life changed forever. He found out Lila lived with her single mother in a small apartment at the edge of the city. They barely had enough to survive. Ethan, once a man who walked past people like them without a glance, found himself visiting them the next day, not as a billionaire, but as a man who owed a debt that could never truly be repaid. He helped Lila's mother find a job, paid off their rent, and set up a trust fund for Lila's education. But most importantly, he spent time with them, eating simple meals at their tiny kitchen table, rediscovering the warmth of humanity. Meanwhile, the news of the incident spread like wildfire. The video of the little girl helping the billionaire went viral. Headlines around the world called her the girl who saved the billionaire's heart. Ethan's frozen accounts were eventually restored, but his heart was never the same. He started a foundation to help children like Lila, pouring millions into schools, shelters, and hospitals. But when asked what inspired him, he always smiled and said, "It wasn't millions that saved me. It was one little girl with a handful of coins and a heart full of gold." Years later, Lila grew up to become the director of that very foundation. She never forgot the night she stood up in a room full of powerful people and became someone's miracle. And Ethan, he became more than a billionaire, he became a man with a purpose. He often said, "When my card was declined, I thought I lost everything. But that's when I found what mattered most." Ethan couldn't sleep that night. The image of little Lila offering her coins replayed in his mind like a gentle echo he couldn't silence. For the first time, he wasn't thinking about profits or power, he was thinking about kindness. The next morning, he found her at the same street corner, selling candies with her bright smile despite the cold wind. He knelt before her, holding a warm cup of cocoa, and said softly, "You helped me when no one else did." Her eyes widened with surprise. "I just wanted to be kind," she whispered. Ethan took her and her mother to a cozy cafe, listening to their story of struggle and courage. He felt something shift inside, a promise forming silently. "From today," he said with quiet determination, "you'll never have to fight alone again." In that moment, it wasn't a billionaire saving a poor girl. It was two souls connecting, proof that one small act of kindness can build an unbreakable bond and change a destiny forever.